Okay, hello everyone and welcome back to World of Tanks Blitz. We're here going to be doing another garage review, and this time it's going to be of the E75, which is a tier 9 German heavy tank. And it's basically an upscale Tiger 2. Because if you have a look, here's the E75, there's the Tiger 2. Yeah, there's not very many differences in them. And that's because the E75 was the vehicle of the E-Series, which was going to replace the Tiger 1, Tiger 2 and all other heavy tank variants in the German army if they ever got the project off of the ground. So, taking a look at the stats here, 79% protection, 51% firepower, 80% shot effectiveness and 27% manoeuvrability. So starting off, you have got 1800 HP, which is slightly less than the VK4 502B, and it's also 100 more than the Kampfpanzer, which is a decent amount of HP for a tier 9 heavy tank. It's sort of in the mid-range section, and it's pretty decent. The armour is really good. 160 front, 120 sides and rears, 252 front, 160 side and 160 rear, so it's really good at side scraping basically. If you've got down the technique on how to side scrape in the Tiger 2, you will be able to just straight up apply that with the E75, because the Tiger 2 has only got 80 side armour, but it's actually fairly decent at side scraping if you're not angling it too much. But you can bait shots from your side, and the E75 is also really good at doing that because it is basically a Tiger 2 but with a lot stronger side armour. And yeah, it's really good at just side scraping, and yeah, it's a really strong armour profile. You can bounce shots off of the front of your hull. The frontal turret is 252 front, plus it's got a little bit of sloping, which means that that is pretty thick in order to try and get through with any other tier 9 heavy tank. The cupola is obviously a weak spot, just as something to note, and it is relatively easy to hit if you are trying to duel off like an IS-8 or something. And because it is basically a Tiger 2, it has got the same Tiger 2 weak spot. In fact, it's even a bigger weak spot at the front, which is that lower glacis. If you look on the Tiger 2, that's a fairly sizable weak spot, that lower glacis, but then if you look at the E75, wham! Half of the front of the hull is weak spot. It's all lower glacis down here, and that is a huge, gigantic weak spot to hit, and that is the biggest threat in the E75, which is that lower glacis. Moving on to manoeuvrability, it weighs 91 tons and it has got a 700 horsepower engine, which is, it's alright. Mobility in this tank is rather decent. 40 kilometers per hour top speed, which it does reach, or at least it can reach in some situations. Good traverse for a high tier heavy tank. It's got a good traverse for a heavy tank anyway, of almost 30 degrees per second, but for a tier 9 heavy tank there's very few heavy tanks which will actually get to that. The Kampfpanzer perhaps has got 36 degrees per second, but then it is a sort of 1970s main battle tank. So yeah, they went for more sort of manoeuvrability over proper armour because they had like special reactive armour and things. So 30 degrees per second for a tier 9 heavy tank, which isn't the Kampfpanzer, is pretty decent. The turret traverse, however, pitifully slow, 16.69 degrees per second. Yeah, it's not that great really, but the hull traverse does make up for it slightly. As for the turret, there's the E75 turret of B, 267 meters view range, which is meh. It's alright, it's a bit low on view range, but then again it is a heavy tank, it's not like a light tank for spotting. There's the engine, Maybach HL234 TRM P45 with the 900 horsepower of engine. And then of course the suspension, which has got a 96 ton load limit, so you still got 6 tons to play around with, and of course the pretty good 30 degrees per second. Now there are some guns obviously on the tank, and the top gun is the 128. But some people will run, no doubt, with the 105cm, which is the same gun as you get on the Tiger 2, and it is a respectable gun. It's got a 7.67 rate of fire rounds per minute, which is it's a decent enough rate of fire. It's got decent pen for tier 8, and it's got alright penetration for tier 9, 225 mil of armor piercing, 285 with APCR, and 60 with HE. The damage is not as much as the top 128, but it does have a still fairly alright 310 alpha, 260 with APCR, 420 with HE. It's got very good accuracy, 0.32, and it's got a 4.3 second aim time, which means that you can snipe with this gun. So yeah, it's a fairly decent gun. As for the top gun, the 128, KWK 40L55, it has got a low rate of fire, 4.64 rate of fire rounds per minute. The average pen goes up, however, to 246 average pen, 311 with the APCR, and 65 with HE. The average damage is 460, which is a very good amount of damage to dump on people at tier 9. So it's got good alpha, 390 with APCR, 600 with HE for absolutely wrecking waffles and Rhymotars. You can do about half health off of a Rhymotol if you get a medium to high damage roll, which is a good thing to do. The dispersion, however, not that great. It's sort of about mid-range dispersion, 0.36 dispersion, which is a bit meh. 5.6 second aim time is also pretty slow, but what it lacks in accuracy, it makes up for with decent pen and a good alpha, which is an alright trade-off. It is a little bit slow on reloading, but it is a 128 gun, and if you can side scrape and bounce people's shots, then they'll still be reloading by the time you pop out, and you can punch right through the fronts of IS-8s and things, which is nice. As for the ammo, you carry around 36 rounds of 128 ammo, which is a decent amount. You can mess around with APCR and your AP and your HE, so you can go ahead and make of that what you will. As for provisions, you've of course got standard and improved fuel for 3 and 10% respectively to engine power and turret traverse. Then you've got chocolate bar and chocolate for 3 and 10% respectively to engine power to crew mastery, sorry. And then you've got protective kit, 15% protection of crew from injuries, 10% speed of module repair, 20% fire protection, and 10% ammo and fuel tank durability. So you can go ahead and mount some of them if you want on your vehicle. Then you've of course got the standard repair first aid fire extinguisher. Then you've got engine power boost, 20% engine power for 15 seconds. Then you've got adrenaline, 20% to load speed and 10% chance of damaging enemy vehicle modules for another 15 seconds. And then you've got the multi-purpose restoration pack, which is these three things rolled into one. So you can go ahead and mount up those how you will. I prefer to just go with the 3 standard, just because it's a nice array of protection for your vehicle. As for equipment, they have changed around some of the equipment now. So gun rammer, minus 7% to load time, which is probably more that which I think is better over the calibrated shells. You can go for the calibrated shells for the increased pen for your AP and APCR, which is nice. However, anything a mouse can penetrate, you can as well, and that's really what counts. If you can pen what a tier 10 pens, then why bother? And of course the minus 7 to reload time is nice. Then you've got improved modules and defense system, which is the new thing, which is minus 10% to the chance of engine damage, minus 8% to the chance of crew injury, and minus 7% to the chance of ammo rack explosion. Whereas improved modules is extra track, fuel and ammo rack durability and less damage from ramming. So it's a toss-up because they're both decent. They're both decent mods to add. It's up to you really. I would probably suggest defense systems. However, the extra ammo rack durability is nice, but a defense system. But then you've got coated optics and camo net. Coated optics is going to be more useful because, well, camo net, yeah, it only gives minus 3%, and you're a big old heavy tank, so yeah, people are going to spot you easily. Then I would suggest probably enhanced gun lay drive to get your aim time down to just above 5 seconds, which is still fairly well. It's still a pretty long aim time, but It's not as bad as what would currently be on the tank, which is 5.6, so I would say enhanced gun lane drive. Then I would suggest possibly enhanced armour, just for a slight boost to your side armour and your frontal armour. And overall, just the armour is good, so I would suggest probably enhanced armour over the improved assembly, which will take you up to almost 2000 HP, which is respectable, very respectable. But I still think the enhanced armour would be better. Then definitely engine accelerator for the increase to top speed. Extra traverse speed would be nice, but 30 degrees per second about is decent traverse for a heavy tank, so perhaps engine accelerator, although it's up to you really, both of them are good. Then I would suggest a refined gun, get it down to a very respectable 0.32 accuracy, which makes it a really good sniping gun. Vertical stabilizers would be nice, but I definitely think refined gun gives a better bonus for minus 10% to dispersion at 100 meters. Then I would say enhanced tracks, because your tracks will get blown off, because if a shot goes slightly low over your side armor, instead of bouncing, it will go into your track, and so your tracks will often blow up if you're side scraping properly. So I would say definitely enhanced tracks, and then your shots, whatever the hell those two things are. So overall, I think it's a very strong heavy tank. It's a very good heavy tank for side scraping, definitely, and overall it's a very, very nice tier 9 heavy tank. So yeah, I'll thank you for watching, and goodbye.